Okay, back to the biosensors. A sensor injected under the skin backed by Darpa is meant to spot COVID-19 days before symptoms appear. April 16, 2021. Small and soft, these sensors are designed to track body chemistry for months to years when inserted under the skin. The tiny sensor, which was backed by Darpa, can be injected under the skin. It constantly monitors whether the body is sick and can transmit the signal to a sensor. It detects COVID-19 infections 1 to 2 days before symptoms appear, according to the manufacturer. The U.S. military storied DARPA agency is backing the development of a sensor meant to be injected under the skin to monitor for COVID-19. According to the agency, which has backed futuristic endeavors like laser weapons, flying trucks, and robot animals, the sensor will continuously monitor vital signs that can flag an infection up to 2 days before the symptoms appear. The agency is exploring whether the sensor could be given members of the U.S. military when coupled with a receiver worn outside the body and sets off an alert when something is wrong, the developers told the Insider. Although it was developed with COVID-19 in mind, it is not sophisticated enough to differentiate that disease from others. The makers said that the alerts would need to be paired with other methods of identifying COVID-19 to give a conclusive diagnosis. The wearable device illuminates the sensor and simultaneously reads the tissue oxygen concentration transmitted by the sensor. It's injected under the skin, and a detector picks up the signal of infection on the skin surface. The sensor makes it possible to detect in real time and over long periods of time changes in the body chemistry. Jared Adams, Chief Communications for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, said in an email. The sensor is made up of two parts: a small strip of hydrogel injected under the skin. The strip is about 1/10 of an inch. Our hydrogel is the same material that's used in soft contact lenses. We'll get into that. Polyethylene. The gel is infused with chemicals. Early markers of infection, such as abrupt change in oxygen, trigger chemical reactions. The strip will start to glow with fluorescent light, which can be picked up by the detector. It's like the check engine light on the car. Colonel Matt Hepburn. My friend Matt Hepburn was running one pillar underneath Operation Warp Speed. Ex-DARPA employee about biosensors being put into the warfighter to see before they were sick. DARPA took an interest in this technology before in 2011 during Regina Dugan's reign. For years, it worked with Profusa, the company that was backed by Bill Gates and that Google Ventures stepped off and is on the board on, and the DoD, and Ben Hwang out of Beijing in China. The sensor itself cannot tell if the infection is COVID-19 or another pathogen, but once it starts signaling that something's off, now you can look under the hood. Maybe run a blood culture, look for COVID or whatever scenario. Dr. Ben Hwang, CEO, he's out of Beijing, told Insider that the technology can start picking up signals of infection 1 to 2 days before the symptoms occur. The extra couple of days when you're in an asymptomatic stage can be significant in terms of disease. It would be tempting to ask whether the conspiracy theorists who claim that the vaccination was a ploy for the government to inject location-tracking microchips into unsuspecting citizens were right. See, this is funny, though, because if you look at, like, the patent 2020060606 or WO 0606062020, the hell with the numbers. Go down and look, and it's a Microsoft patent for blockchain activity based on body activity movement. But if you go down beneath that, there'll be fact checks that says, is there a microchip involved in patent 060606 from Microsoft? And it says Bill Gates does not have a patent that has anything to do with a microchip. This isn't a microchip that they call it. This is a hydrogel injected through a hypodermic needle that gives off a fluorescent light. They call it a biosensor, okay? But the Profusa sensor does not fit the bill. Hwang explained that the detector on the surface of the skin is only the active part of the sensor. Without it, the hydrogel is just kind of there. On the inside, there's no batteries, no coils, no electronics, just a hydrogel. It's passive material. Yeah, but it can relate over right to the cell phone or promote wirelessly over to the internet. This is a project that aligns with other DARPA projects. The agency came to being from the initiation of Sputnik. We know all that. And then their dog. But let's see here. But its earliest investment on iron-fisted project developments can also lead to significant breakthroughs in everyday life, including the technology behind the Siri app, the RumoVac, and the Moderna mRNA COVID-19 vaccine. DARPA are hard taskmasters, which they should be. They're stewards of taxpayer money. So you've got to perform, you've got to deliver, and the relationship is really rewarding and fruitful. It's now been passed from DARPA to the Joint Program Executive Office for Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Defense, where Hepburn now works after being on warp speed. He went from DARPA, boom, to warp speed, boom, and over to this new joint program. DARPA likes technologies that have multiple applications under the Department of Defense, Hepburn said. By the way, Sloughy at the top of warp speed, that they said GSK, Stock, and GlaxoSmithKline Beecham, he stepped off Moderna's board to head warp speed, friends. Hepburn says the sensor could also be useful, for instance, to combat settings to detect if soldiers were exposed to chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear agents. The company is working with the Air Force and the Navy. Hwang didn't want to disclose too much about the projects, but provided an example of how it works. And then it goes into deep sea divers and all this. You can go through about detecting the flu. It's I'll put out another video and we'll take this a little farther.